What's up guys, Doomsday here. Today we're back again. In this video we're going to be playing some Vi in the jungle. So it's been a while since I played Vi, but I thought I'd give it a shot again. Vi has always been a pretty consistent pick. They've never been really super broken, but then they aren't really underpowered too. And it's just a consistent safe pick in my opinion. But I used to play a lot of Vi back in the past. I think I was like top 100 Vi at some point, but I have not played him in a while. So I thought I'd give it a shot again, but looking at what's going on the map right now, the first thing that I noticed is that Master Yi is on the top side of the map. So from the looks of it, he's just only clearing his top side of the jungle and probably going to end up going for that top scuttle. So now I'm looking at what I want to do, and because I loaded in late, my clear is a bit slower than it should be because I arrived at my camps like 20 seconds late. So I decided to just go for one side of jungle clear because one, it's faster, and two, actually look at this matchup on this bot side over here. It's an Aurelia versus a Nasus. So against an Aurelia, one thing that you should realize is certain champs play super aggro compared to other champs. So for example, Aurelia is a champ where you have to go for a lot of trades. And actually, did you notice the mistake? I made a big mistake in going for that gank actually, and it's something to really keep in mind when going for ganks. And it's that I forgot to account for the Aurelia stun. I should have waited for Aurelia to drop their stun on the Nasus before coming out. Since if you didn't see what happened there, I went in with my first ability, and then the Aurelia stun came out and stunned both me and the Nasus, but I could have waited for that stun to come by first before I engaged. So now, I'm keeping an eye on my blue buff, making sure that Yi is not going for the invade, because I know he already got the top scuttle for sure. So our top side, they're able to turn this around, and what do I know now? Since Master Yi did not end up ganking that top lane, if you can guess where he is, it's not too bad to guess where he is actually, because if he didn't gank that top side over there when they were overextended going for that fight, then he's definitely just resetted and went to his blue side jungle to clear his blue buff and everything. So no, he's on the bot side of the map right now. But as I was saying earlier, certain champs play super aggro compared to other champs when in lane. So champs like Aurelia, if you watch my videos, you know whenever I go up against an Aurelia or with an Aurelia, I realize that lane is going to be super trade heavy. So what that means is there's going to be a lot of low health champs, and that's going to be a good gank a lot of times. Like that compared to something like a Garen or a Gragas in the Baron lane, those aren't as trade heavy champs. They can easily play from range, just poke down, and it's not as easy to get a ganks off on those lanes unless you get a very good setup. So now I'm just forming up my jungle, waiting for my red buff to spawn again. And really the item that you want to be rushing on Vi is Trinity Force. Trinity Force is super strong on Vi. It's a really good power spike, one item power spike. And your ult too, once you get your ult plus a Trinity Force, you can delete like almost like any single squishy you want with just a good ult. So over here, the Twisted Fate used their ult. I think it spotted me out, so they actually backed off there. So they did not go for anything. But now I'm just clearing this, and I'm keeping an eye on this Nasus if they want to keep on pressuring that. So a good thing to keep an eye out in a case like this right now is notice what Nasus is doing. Nasus is freezing the wave next to his turret. So what does that mean? If they really wants to farm, then they're going to have to go super deep like how they are right now, and they're going to be super overextended to farm this wave. And that's why knowing wave positioning is just super important as a jungler, because now I can just get this free gank off. And I don't even... Oh, let's see if we can land that. Sadly, do not. I don't want to waste flash on him, but sadly the Aurelia flashed away too, so I have to flash in return, even though I did not want to waste flash if I didn't have to, but that's unfortunate. But now, this Twisted Fate was able to rotate from mid, but Nasus is just too strong. Nasus still had ult, or he got ult off cooldown, and that's a really good ult on him. So now that we got those kills there, we can grab this Herald, and that's looking pretty good for us. So now that we are on this Herald, and the enemies probably know we're on this Herald, we do need to keep an eye on this dragon, because they might try and rush it. And looking at our dragon lane, we have pretty bad positioning for our dragon lane. Our dragon lane is getting pushed all the way back, meaning that it's going to be very hard to get vision onto that dragon. So now I'm looking at what's happening. I see that Aurelia is going for this trade, so instead of resetting, I go back over here. And I know Aurelia has no flash right now because they had just burned it earlier. So I do that, and I drop the Herald, and instead I choose to play for the first turret. And I think that's a fine trade. Now, our Lux is able to get a combo over there. They pick up a kill. I think they're going to go down, though, but we do get this first turret. And I think that's a decent trade, getting that first turret for Mountain Dragon. Because first turret was worth so much gold, and people really overestimate dragons, in my opinion. I think gold leads definitely are way more important than one dragon. Of course, as you scale into the late game, dragons become more and more important, but at this stage and for the mid game, definitely gold leads can carry you through. So sadly our Nasus stayed and they went down, but I'm able to pick up this jungle here. Plus we got a good amount of damage on the second tier turret. Now I am dipping. So I have so much gold over here. I definitely need a shop. I was planning on resetting earlier, but then I saw them going for that. The Aurelia going on to the Nasus, so have not been able to get a reset in. Okay, here we go. Finally getting the reset in. I have so much gold. But I don't know why the Lux is over there, but for some reason they're in that position. That's a very bad position to be in as a Lux. Especially when you're playing super immobile champs that don't have big dashes or anything like a Lux. You can't really be in a position like that without a front line. So now I'm heading back towards this top side. I see that Twisted Fate is resetting. And now I'm trying to get ult onto the solution. Let's see if we're able to pick him up here. Oh, he's one shot. Gonna have to flash for that. And now can we get out of this? Nice. Barely get out of that. And that's why Trinity Force is just such a good power spike. As I was saying, Trinity Force plus your ult, you could deal so much damage and lock down so many carries. And my carry didn't even really follow up. They weren't in a really good position to follow up for that. So that was mostly just my damage too. If I had another teammate with me that was able to follow up well, then that would have been so much easier. And probably could have gotten both kills, honestly. But again, notice what I see here. I notice that the wave positioning is pushed in really far in this bot side. So I'm keeping an eye to see if this Aurelia is around. And I see them rotating to mid. So actually, what do I do here? What do I do here? So what do I see right now? I see that the Nasus is pushing this wave back to the turret, to the second tier turret. So instead what I'm doing is I'm just doing something to stall some time. And I know that that Aurelia is going to rotate back to this side of the map to clear that wave once Nasus pushes it. So I know Aurelia is rotating right now. And I'm trying to keep an eye out. But that ward, I should not have placed that ward. That ward screwed me over because then they saw I was there. But at this point, I'm like, I'm too deep. I got to keep on going. So I just go for it at this point. I'm like, screw it. I already committed to it. But yep, we're still able to pick up that kill even with the dive underneath the turret. And that's just the power of Vi, the single target lockdown. You can pretty much find any squishy you want and just lock them down. So over here, I get greedy. I'm like, I want more turret gold. And the Master Yi shows up. Definitely do not do that. Just definitely reset there in that case. Because that was not the move. That was not the move staying. But that would have been so much easier if I hadn't placed that ward. Because then I really would have walked right next to me. And they wouldn't have even known I was there. So I could have completely gotten them off guard. But that's a really good thing to pay attention to is where the enemy is and where they're going to be rotating. And you can get some really good like cheese plays doing that. So now I'm just farming up my jungle again. And as I had mentioned earlier, wave positioning, understanding that as a jungler is super crucial because the wave position in an early game like laning phase, that's pretty much going to dictate where the champs are. In other words, if the wave is pushed all the way in towards your turret, then both champs are going to be positioned near that turret, meaning that the enemy is going to be overextended, while your teammate's going to be underneath turret. Or if it's the other way around, if it's the wave is pushed all the way underneath the enemy turret or next to it, then that's going to make it so your teammate's going to have to overextend. And that's just something to keep in mind for ganks. So really the two concepts you have is if the wave is pushed near your turret and your teammate is freezing it, that means the enemy's going to be overextended and that's a decent gank. Or if the wave is pushed all the way into the enemy turret, then you can look for a dive. Because you're going to have a good mini wave set up. So here, that Twisted Fate barely got away with like 1 health. I just commit for it. I lose my Guardian Angel. I think I'm going to go down here. Let's see, how much time can I buy for my team? Over here, I'm just trying to stall him a bit. While my teammates get back. I get ignited. Oh, but actually something that you could do in a case like that is you can actually use your smite on a jungle camp to regen some health, if you didn't know. And sometimes it'll be more beneficial than like smiting the enemy. So in a case like that, instead of just getting the extra movement speed from smiting the enemy, the health probably would have been better. So over here, they really try and force that drag. They do get it, but they get entirely team wiped for that. And why is that a huge mistake at this point in the game? And I mentioned this a lot in my videos because junglers really don't understand the cost of a big mistake like this at this stage of the game. And it's a lot of times around that second dragon or the third dragon that this happens. And it's because at that time, the Baron Nashor will be up most likely. And if it's up and you die like that at the dragon, then you give up the Baron, which is not a good trade at all. So now we're able to push down a bunch of turrets with this. So we're able to get the Baron now. And that's just something to really consider if you are a jungle. If you're maybe wanting to go for a steal or go for a risky fight or something, just keep in mind, check if Baron is up or not. And that can really dictate what you do. So over here, actually notice what I did there in that engage. So sadly, they had so much CC and my team actually had backed off. So it's just me and the Nasus. So we go down, which is a bit unfortunate if it was just two of us. If our team was there, we definitely could have probably deleted them. But something to keep in mind for Vi is it's a lot about gap closing, using your abilities to gap close. So you have your first ability and your ultimate. Those are your main gap closers. Your second ability gives you some movement speed, but it's not the biggest thing. So what you want to do a lot of times is wait till the enemy is far away before you use your ult. So a lot of times when you go into an enemy, they're going to start to run away, okay? You engage with your first ability or something like that. Then they might flash away or use whatever dash or something they have to escape. So then after they use that dash, then you ult them to gap close again. Because if you just first ability and then ult right away, and then they dash or flash or something away, then you have no way of getting back onto them because you don't have enough mobility to get back onto them. So that's why it's just crucial to really pay attention to gap closing as a jungler, and especially as Vi. So now pushing in these waves, I see my team is pushing that bot side, and I think this is really inefficient on our team's part, actually, is because there's 3 people with the Baron buff, but they're all pushing that same wave. So over here, I'm like, okay, we're all just going to be pushing one wave. Thankfully, we get... Oh, do we get that? Oh, we don't even get that pick off. I was about to say, at least we get 1 kill a bit. Sadly, we do not. So over here now, I decided to just go for the dive. I can tank a bit because I'm Vi. And I actually went Aftershock for my rune in this match, and the point of that is to be way more tanky. Because I realized my team really needed a frontline in this match since we were super squishy. And you can go Aftershock or Conqueror. Conqueror is more damage. Aftershock will provide more tank. So I'm going Aftershock, Brutal, Conditioning, and Pathfinder for my runes. And then for the build, you literally just go Trinity Force, Guardian Angel, Sterix, and then tank or whatever. So I'm actually building Locket in this game for my enchantment, or whatever tank items you need for the match. So in this match, definitely Randuin's Omen is needed. You have a Master Yi, you have a Lucian, you have an Aurelia. For sure, definitely Randuin's. Should be prioritizing that. In fact, in this match, it might actually even be better to get Randuin's before Sterix Gauge. Just because they have so much crit damage, and that would really help. But then for enchantment, you can go like Stoneplate or Redemption even if you want, or you could go Locket like how I am. I really do like Locket. I think it provides a lot of team utility. So that's why I really prefer to go that. But it's really up to personal preference for that. Most things can work. So now I'm just pushing in the waves and trying to get them in a good position, especially when these objectives are spawning. If you have the wave pushed all the way in, you're going to have way better map positioning. This is something people don't realize, but wave positioning determines almost your own positioning too and where you can step up to. Because look at where the waves are right now. We can't step up too far, but imagine if our waves were pushed all the way into the enemy. And right now, they're committing everything onto me, which is, you just use like every single ult on me. All their big ults, which is kind of pointless because I still have Guardian Angel. So, that's pointless on their part, but we're able to pick up these kills over here. Our Nasus was able to win his fight up in the dragon lane up there. So now we're able to get this dragon here, and this is what I was talking about, is that early game dragons, they aren't the most impactful until you get to the late game. It's really those gold leads that will get you snowballing. So now what am I doing? I'm pretty much just ghosting this Nasus. I realized that this Nasus is super fed, and they got so much gold early on. And the late game Nasus, they can carry so easily just because Nasus gets super strong in the late game. So pretty much my job now is to just support for this Nasus. I'm just trying to set up chain CC for him, just trying to knock him up, use my ult on people, use my Locket onto him to save him if needed. And I actually don't know why I'm building Bramble, because I definitely need Randuin's, but yeah. Definitely get Randuin's in this match. Randuin's and then Thornmill I think is good. Or maybe you can even go Randuin's into Frozen Heart and just completely screw over their attack speed. So now they're using the Twisted Fate ult. They're using that for vision, if you didn't know. Because when you use Twisted Fate ult, it actually reveals all the enemies on the map. So a lot of times if enemies have bad positioning like how they do, or at least how they did, not anymore because that Twisted Fate ult got him so much. Over here, I actually see the Twisted Fate just resetted. So actually that's why I look for this engage here. I saw on the minimap that the Twisted Fate had resetted. And now I just force this engage. The Lucian gets away. Oh, never mind. That Lux just completely deleted them with their ult. Whew. That was kind of dirty. Yo, that Lux ult just sniped him. But that was a really good engage. You can combo your first ability plus your flash. And here's the Twisted Fate. So it's just because we had good warding, we were able to catch out that recall. But as I was saying, if you have bad positioning and you're worried about the enemies playing super aggro and like bush camping or something, then a lot of people will use that ult to get vision to make sure they aren't going to get caught out. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Vi is definitely a decent amount of fun. And up next, I probably want to do like Nunu or Gragas in the jungle because those are two of the champs I'm definitely looking to do. But anyways, that's going to be it. I hope you all enjoyed and I'll see you all in the next video.